Man, would you look at this, 2022, and here we are looking at Evolve Stage 2 coming back to Steam. Who'd have really thunk this one? I mean, I gotta tell you, 2022 is a crazy year so far with gaming. You have Dead Space 1 getting remastered, you have the pixel remakes of the Final Fantasy games, you have the Diablo 2 remaster, you have Rusty Hearts coming back, and now Evolve Stage 2 is once again playable on Steam. Like, holy shit, I last saw this game pretty much 6 years ago. I had a lot of fun with this game at the time. It is a 4v1 asymmetrical game where you can play as one of four hunters, or four classes of hunters I should say, or you can play as one of the monsters. Now, at the time when this game was live, I used to watch a streamer by the name of Sacriel, and I covered the game quite a bit at the time when new characters would come out, when new monsters would come out, and I like watching Sacriel play the game a bit. I was actually quite disappointed whenever I would tune into a stream and he'd be in a different game, because by watching him stream, not only did I get the enjoyment of watching the game be played by a relatively skilled player, he actively taught as he was playing. A friend of mine found him to be a little bit arrogant at the time, and I can definitely see that. However, he was really good at explaining everything that he was doing. If he would play a monster, he's like, okay, here's the landing pad, so I'm going to break right and bring some footprints that way, and now I'm going to go stealth mode so I don't leave footprints, and I'm going to double back, kind of like Danny in the hedge maze in The Shining. I'm going to double back, and I'm going to go to the left, and I'm going to eat in peace over here, and I'm going to level up to 2, and I'm not going to get, like... And he would climb the side of a cliff face and get in some rocks. He'd just crouch there and he'd hide and he'd watch the hunters go by. So he really taught you how to be a better player at the same time you're being entertained by his streaming. And I really thought that was pretty cool. But I mean, here we are with some actual activity in Evolve Stage 2 again. So daily challenges are back, and they give you silver coins, which is the silver K over here, and you can see 109 to 60. My god, I had a lot of fucking coins when this game died, and the gold coins are the ones that you pay for. Here under extras, all the My2K stuff does not work because the My2K servers are not online. However, you can see the most recent patch notes that happened when the game died. I don't think these are new updates. I think this was the final patch notes when the game died back in 2016. A new version of Dam was available under custom games. Wraith got refactored a little bit. Stores were given out. The Blood Eagle skins, the Monarch, Valkyrie, some Glacials, some Jellyfish, Bermuda. AI Kraken and Elder Kraken are now added to co-op versus AI. Credits, I think, actually, yeah, credits does work. You can do your trainings. So what it's like to be on a hunt, what it's like to play one of the monsters, a DPS tutorial, how to do custom versus AI. There's the challenges. If you go to the store actually does work. I don't think there is a way of purchasing gold coins, which is why when you first land here, you're like, oh, the store is broken. But then when you go over to the skins and everything, I mean, they're there. So here were some characters and monsters that were available at the time. Everything is purchased for me. I I think it's because I maybe had a season pass. Yes, I did. There were like 2 or 3 season passes, and that was actually kind of controversial. At the time, yeah, a lot of content creators were not happy that the game released as like a relatively full price game, I think, and then had season passes, but it did go free to play, which is why it's called Stage 2. Stage 2 was the free to play of it, and you can see here this gold skin. I believe this came with one of the season packs. I'm going to grab Bloodrock skin while I'm here. I mean, why not? This stuff's cheap. Oh wow, it doesn't actually seem to be taking away from my silver? Are you saying I can purchase the hell out of the store and not lose my silver keys? Oh, it seems that way. Oh man, I think if people had enough coins back in the day, they could run the gamut on the store now. I'm not saying it's free. Like, if you don't have 10,800 coins, you may not be able to purchase this stuff, but it doesn't actually seem to be subtracting from my total. Yup. Okay. It's probably because it's frozen in time. And, this is where my data is. It's not actually touching the real online store, so it's not doing anything. Let's see if there's any sunny stuff. There's Bucket. Let's see if I can get some weapons while I'm here. I actually like brighter weapons on the hunters because, I mean, once the monster sees you, he sees you. You don't have to really worry about standing out at that point. Hank Arctic, Hank Night Hunter. Yeah, I think I'll get that. Let's see. That's still not taking away anything. So you have characters, you have monster skins, you have hunter skins, and you have weapon skins. That is what is purchasable from the store. When you go to play, you want to say no to that about the error that reoccurred. It'll say connecting to the servers, and it will actually work. What you can do now at this point is, arcade is one of the best ways of doing this. Hunt beta, you cannot get into right now because the My2K servers are dead. I was approaching the upper echelons of being a Sunny at the time the game died. I was like a top 30 something Sunny when the game went offline, and I boy do I kind of miss that. You can set your preferences here. I'm surprised I have Assault a little further down. I know I had, this is definitely what I was at the time, having the monster way down. Towards the end of the game's lifespan, I preferred not to be the monster if I could help it. And support is so high because I was really pushing my Sunny up the rankings. But if we use... So about a weekend ago, this is what I did, is I did the AI version of it. So what you do is you pick your role here, and then everything else is AI. So if I pick Assault, I'm going to have 3 AI friends, and I'm going to have an AI monster. When I did this a weekend ago, for some reason, we could not find the monster at all. But we actually won because of the fact that if the monster does not evolve to 3 and kill the communications array, or destroy the communications array, the hunters actually win. So if the monster just plays a waiting game and runs around the map and stays like right behind them and never does anything, the monster loses. Either the monster has to kill all of the hunters 3 times each, or it has to hit level 3 and destroy the communications array. But if we pretend that this was an online match, which is functional, I did just get out of one, once you pick your role, you get to choose which of the role hunters you want to be. So there's Markov, Blitz Markov, Hyde, Parnell, Torvald, Lennox, and Renegade Abe, all under DPS. Now, He's called Renegade Abe because Abe is actually a trapper, and this is the Renegade version of him where he switches over to DPS. Now, I played quite a bit of Markov. He's a very easy DPS. Maybe some Blitz Markov at the time. I definitely did some Parnell. He's kind of like the Pharah from Overwatch of the DPS. High damage shotgun with large spread, moderate damage rocket launcher, huge brief increased fire rate, reload speed, weapon swap speed, and a defensive matrix. Torvald. God, he's just so realistic. That honestly looks like a legitimately real human being over here, other than the fact that half his body is like Jax from Mortal Kombat. But once you pick a hunter, you can choose his skins, or you can choose his weapon skins. Oh, I like Predator for him. Auto-fire shotgun, mortar cannon, shrapnel grenades, defense matrix. So all of these guys have different abilities that are somewhat similar. Here, Lennox, which is somebody I don't think I played at all, Plasma Lance, Autocannon, Thunderstrike, high damage, small radius leap, and a defense matrix. As you can see, a lot of the DPS have that some form of a defense matrix, although Renegade Abe's is considered lesser. He has a nerve toxin dart, moderate damage over time, dart gun that increases all damage to the monster, corrosive grenades that reduce the target's damage and applies a poison, and penitence, low damage shotgun that poisons the target. Alt fire increases damage spread but does not poison. So he's not a heavy DPS. He's still got a lot of his debuffer abilities on him for being a trapper. And there he is, Abe, but we'll get to him. Maggie is the one that had the dog. He had the machine. She had the machine pistol, harpoon traps, the trap jaw, and a planet scanner. And this is what hunters do, is they try and find the behemoth, the Goliath. They try and find the monster, and they tend to work as sort of a debuffer, like a saboteur, when they find the monster. Less damage typically than the actual DPS rolls, and more usability. So for Maggie, moderate damage with the machine pistol, harpoon trap that slows the monster's movements, pet trap jaw that hunts the monster and revives down hunters, increase the run speed of nearby hunters, and of course the planet scanner. She has a variant called Wasteland Maggie, which has a flame snare, places a snare that burns the trap monsters but doesn't slow it. Combat Trapjaw, where it hunts the monsters when following, has a low damage flamethrower, so he gives up the healing abilities and tracking. And that's what they do when they have these variants, is it's pretty much the original character with some slight modifications. So if we were to look at Griffin, we have an SMG again, we have a harpoon gun, low damage harpoon gun that slows the monster's movement, sound spikes that pings when the monster goes by, of course the planet scanner. But then if you were to look at Electro Griffin, which I think I did play, hello, there we go. Moderate damage with the SMG and a large spread, briefly slows the monster's movement. I like that. I mean, the primary weapon doing a slow like that I think is cool. The final lockdown, moderate damage over time, harpoon gun that hinders the monster's movement, sound spikes again, planet scanner. I think that's actually a really solid upgrade to Griffin. You have Abe, who has the stasis grenades, very, very common. There used to be quite a lot of Abes out there. Crow with a pet battery, launch Gobi to scan in a straight line and highlight any targets within the area, including monsters that give buffs. And Jack, dual pistols, the repulsor that absorbs the movement towards you, the survey satellite, Deployable device that rapidly scans a large area, detecting the monster in its tracks. I think I did a little bit of Jack. Here are the medics. So that's Parnell from the DPS. And he has a variant that's over here as a healer. He's called Paladin Parnell. Short-range shotgun that lowers your heal burst cooldown after hitting a target. Rockets that do healing. These are healing rockets. Righteous Fury, which is similar to his DPS ability. Healing burst for a huge self-heal. So he actually... He's set up as a bit of a tank, like Paladins in RPGs, where he can burst heal himself and then switch over to shotgun to bring the heal burst back online quicker. Val was a later game medic that was added. And I remember the armor-piercing sniper rifle. That's what puts a lot of like targets on the enemy monster. The med gun, tranquilizer gun, healing burst. You have Rogue Val, which looks a lot like Nova from StarCraft and Heroes of the Storm. High damage 3-shot sniper rifle, chain metagun, medium range lock-on that heals targets over time, chains to hunters, poison dart gun, and healing field. I remember Lazarus. I used Lazarus quite a bit when I was doing medic work because he could stealth and he could revive hunters while he was stealth. His sniper rifle was silenced. Revives dead hunters with 1 strike or an in-capped hunter with no strikes. Kyra, I think I use Kyra quite a bit myself. Napalm grenade, well there you go, napalm grenade launcher, healing grenade launcher, the run speed, and the healing burst. Quantum Kyra, I don't think I used. I don't even really recognize her much. Stackable damage over time zone, stackable healing zone, large area of effect aura that reduces damage dealt to nearby hunters. I mean, cool abilities. I really don't recognize her. Slim seems a little familiar with the healing bug. Leech gun, yeah. I think I remember using Slim a little bit. And then there's Emmett, which is the robot that has multiple personality disorder. I remember when there was media for Emmett coming around, and he just constantly shifted between that happy face and that angry face you see here. Fires a hit marker that sends medium damage missiles to the target, healing buoy, respawn beacon, and healing burst. And then finally we come to support, which you would often think is the healers, but it's not. There's my girl Sunny. We'll get to her in a moment. So Hank is the original. He had the laser cutter for damage. He had the shield projector that is sort of like Zarya from Overwatch, except it stays on the person as he locks on and does it. It's not just like a temporary bubble. Orbital barrage, which you don't as a hunter want to get caught in one of those. Shield burst. Tech Sergeant Hank, which has a low damage laser beam with no spread whatsoever. Long range lock on weapon that charges shield for a hunter. Orbital drill that follows its target, sort of like the one guy in Heroes of the Storm, the one Protoss guy that's in there. Not Alarak. I'm forgetting who it is because I play the guy and I love him a lot. I think it begins with an A, but it's not Alarak. Shield burst. You have Bucket, who I do think I recall was a pretty easy medic to get used to. Medium damage, laser designated rocket launcher, the sentry guns, yeah. Mechanized recharge, recharges the class ability cooldowns of all hunters. Shield burst. Cabot, who's considered challenging. Railgun. It went even through walls, which is interesting for this game. Damage amplifier, dust tagging, shield burst. There's Sunny, who I like to be. Mini nuke grenade launcher, high damage grenade launcher, the jetpack booster, which makes them, it refuels their fuel a bit quicker, and they also have a bigger thrust for jumping and movement. Shield drone that you want to put up in places where the monster can't get it, and then it provides a shield to the most recently damaged hunter, and of course then shield burst. And you'll notice for all of them it says that the shield burst is weak. There's Battle Cabot, which is a variant of Cabot. Moderate damage, rapid fire cannon, solar blast, targeted blast of solar energy that explodes on impact. Allies in an area are invisible and gain movement bonus, and a projected shield burst, which deploys an energy projectile that explodes, granting shields to nearby hunters. And then finally you have Kala, who's got some DNA from the monsters. Moderate damage mines that home in on monsters and wildlife in a small area. Medium range lock-on weapon that temporarily removes monster armor. Teleport pads. And shield burst. That's why she's considered challenging, is because the use of teleport pads are pretty tough. Over on the monsters, you have the Goliath, which is the original monster and kind of the mascot for the entire game. And he has Rock Throw, the Leap, Fire Breath, which is very iconic for this game, and a Charge. You have the Meteor Goliath, which changes up some abilities. You can see here that the Leap Smash will ignite. Everything basically ignites targets. Although maybe some of the damage is a little bit decreased in the front end, but it leaves a dot on the back end. They have the Kraken, which is very Cthulhu-esque. Lightning strikes, the Banshee mines, these things are rough. Aftershock, and the Vortex. You have the Elder Kraken, which does lightning strike, Banshee missiles, chain lightning. This was really rough for him. Death Spiral. You have the Wraith, which is the stealther of the group. Warp Blast, Abduction, where he grabs a hunter. He warps, so he kind of warps like a ghost of himself forward, grabs the hunter, and then brings them back like a hook. Inflicts moderate damage. High damage Phantom to wait for hunters to approach or attack designated targets. And Supernova, which is where you go into a flurry. There's Behemoth, which is a monster that was added later in the game when the game was live. It's just basically, he's a giant rock that rolls through things, and it's a good getaway maneuver. It is really fun to end-cap some of the hunters and then roll away really, really quickly and gain a large amount of ground. Lava Bomb, which does a dot on the ground. Tongue Grab, another chain attack. Fissure is a explosive wave that goes on the ground, and then Rock Wall, which is good to do a rock wall and roll away. Behemoth is a little bit like May in that regard, where he can put up the wall like May can and then just book it. Afterwards, you have the Glacial Behemoth, which changes a lot of what he does from earth things to frost, but he doesn't have the wall. However, he has Deep Freeze, which is an ice wave that activates melee attacks and slows the hunter movement. And then you have the Gorgon, which is basically a giant camelback spider, or a giant camel spider. This guy, they list him as moderate. I always thought he was kind of challenging. Web Snare, a slow there. Spider Trap, leaps up and grabs hunters. Acid Spit, that leaves dots on the ground. And Mimic, which is like a ghost spider, similar to what the Wraith can do. And it has abilities and size like the regular Gorgon, so it's easy to mistake the Mimic for the Gorgon, and it's hard to keep track of them in combat. And then, of course, you can pick skins when you pick your monster. That Scarab looks pretty cool. Turtle. Honestly, when you play a monster, I think one of the best things you could do is choose skins that are as dark as possible, so that you blend in a little bit more. I mean, I think the worst thing you could do is pick a Behemoth and then pick this. I mean, what an amazing texture. It really looks like he's actually wrapped in gold leaf. I cannot believe this texture work over here. I think it is frankly stunning that they got it to look like that. But yeah, I think like Sandstone, like this is a good thing for him, because I think as the monster you want to do as much as you can to blend in. So there you go, guys. 2022 Evolve Stage 2 is back on Steam. I don't know if you can install it if you've never had it, but if you had it back in the day when the game wrapped up in 2016, download it again and start playing. I mean, I clicked arcade and I was in a game within 3 minutes tops, playing Sunny again. So there you go, guys. If you like 4v1 combat, if you like asymmetrical combat, give Evolve Stage 2 a try. And boy, 2022, Diablo 2 coming back, Dead Space coming back, Final Fantasy games coming back, Rusty Hearts coming back, Evolve coming back. Crazy, crazy times we live in. Thanks for watching the video, guys.